There's a little competitive game that we play, just to see if we remember and we can list the names of all the different places, like La Retouette,
That's right, La Retouette,
Montgifter,
yes,
La Canègue, and we were playing this game. Well, it's a game that we had played before because it's kind of competitive. It's almost as if we want to see who is the last person who could call a name.
yes.
And we would remember and remind each other, and I would learn from him. One day he said this word. In the middle of the game he says,
Well, not even some men don't even know. Some people goes up in the garden every now and then, they don't know.
Concord has a secret.
In Search of a Mystery. Date April 9th, 2012. The members of the Grenada Creole Society led an expedition to rediscover a secret cleverly hidden in the patois language of their ancestors for over 200 years. In search of a lost Maroon community. This is their story, a Grenadian Creole story. The journey to Bwa Ma. Mawon.
Concord has a secret. This is a secret that Concord has had for a lot of years, for hundreds of years. And in fact, it is so secret that it is a secret even from the younger persons in Concord. Up to Saturday, I was speaking to people and they have never heard of Bwa Ma I first heard it about a year ago when I was speaking with my cousin-in-law, Mr. Rupert, and we played a little game. That game was to try and see how many of the places, the patois places that we could remember. Because you see, these places, as far as we know, they are not on the map. Yet the people here know all these places, can go and come, can speak to each other, can describe the places. The places are known to everybody in Concord, but they're not on the map. And it was in playing that game that he first said, Bwa Mawon. And I said, I have never heard this. And just like a lot of Concord people, I had never heard it. I confirmed that up to Saturday. Today is Monday. And I said, but Uncle Rupert, do you know what you are saying? You have just said the name of the place in patois where the slaves used to run away and hide. That is my translation, literally, from the patois. And I'm so glad I've been learning the patois. So we are here today because we recognize that. And I would like Dr. Curtis Jacob to set us in perspective as we go into this little expedition.
Good morning. Thanks for Dr. Joseph for inviting me. And there's a little story I want to give you from before. It was I was living and working in Barbados when I was doing postgraduate work in history, and some of you might know my area of expertise in Caribbean history is Fidon's Rebellion. This year is 11 years since I finished the PhD, and I was awarded the doctorate. But what I used to say sometime before I actually got this job 7 years ago was that I would really love to have about a good 6 weeks in Grenada to walk around the trails and so on. That's because, well, apart from my own interest in Fidon's Rebellion, and most of my interest in Fidon's Rebellion being non-Grenadian, I only came by it through documents, usually dispatches, communal office reports, and secondary sources like published books and so on. So I wanted to get a chance to to walk around and to find trails and so on. And this is probably 7 years I've been here, and this is probably the first time I've actually gone on a walk. But sometimes you have to be careful about the things that you ask for, But one of the untold stories of Grenadian history and in Fidon's Rebellion is in fact that there is a very long history of Maroonage and Maroons in Grenada. It is not generally known. I think it's only George Bazan may have spoken about it in the 20th century and maybe Dr. Beverly Field. But generally speaking, Maroonage has been in existence in Grenada since, let's say, perhaps the middle 17th century, when in the 1600s, when they brought Africans here as enslaved people to give unpaid labor to the estates and plantations and so on. And then people now began to decide that they were not, that they could free themselves, and Grenada was particularly important in that there was a lot of the interior which was still tropical rainforests and which they could escape. In addition to which, they got they also learned some techniques of resistance from the indigenous peoples who they met here. And it is not quite true to say that the indigenous peoples disappeared in Grenada after the famous Soukers incident in 1651. As late as 1779, we have Governor McCarthy when he surrendered to the French in July of 1779. One of the clauses of his terms which he proposed to this thing was something about indigenous peoples, or they call them the Caribs. But generally speaking, there's a lot of Maroons, a lot of documents in the historical record on Maroonage and Maroons. Now, Maroons, the term comes from a Spanish word called cimarron, which really first referred to animals who had gotten away from their owners, and it's supposed to mean wild and untamed. And it has come down to mean people who have taken leave of their owners' care and protection and decided to live in what somebody called dangerous freedom in the hinterland instead of the peaceful existence on the estates. I don't think that I say the word peaceful loosely because you cannot appreciate a life on an estate as a slave cannot have been peaceful. And Grenada had two Maroon communities as in the documents. There's one in the French records from 1725, where there's a rather amusing incident. I don't quite figure it out yet, where a Maroon community waited until a planter left to go down to town and raided his estate whilst his wife was there. And when they finally got her under control, they made the wife kiss the naked rear end of the leader of the Maroon community. Why they did that, we're not so sure, but hopefully we'll find out. Right? But generally speaking, I used to think for a long time that the center of the Maroon community in Grenada was St. John's. mostly because associated with Fidon's rebellion. But in looking at documents, I'm working on a work on the Maroons of Grenada. We discovered too that a lot of the Maroons were concentrated in St. Andrew, which is not too far from here. So it is so what we are really when they made a Maroon community, they did two things mostly. They set it in a place where it was almost inaccessible for the planters to return them to a life of slavery. And the other one was that when they retired to these places, they tried to recreate traditional African society and life as best they remembered it. The historians, like for instance, Philippo Genovese, calls it restorationism, and he said the pattern of slave resistance was restorationist until about 1789 when the French Revolution came and so, which is another interesting discussion. But generally speaking, they retired to establish or re-establish African society as best as they could out of the reach of the estates. Now, the people, the planter class did not like Maroonage and Maroon communities at all. Why did they not like them? They didn't like them because they represented an ideal to the enslaved that, look, there are people who can leave the estates and establish their own communities in defiance of the plantations. And it was very serious. There was grand marronage, which was let's say petit marronage. Petit marronage is when you left for a little while. Like sometimes a man might have a deal for another estate and he run off to meet her for the weekend and come back. No, that used to happen, by the way. Yeah. And that's petit marronage. But grand marronage is when you leave almost permanently. The penalty for grand marronage, that means that after 6 months you're not found, was death. Yeah, they're very serious about this business. So they took marronage extremely seriously. So what we're going here today is, I suspect, we actually say Bwa Ma, it means like wood or forest of the Maroons, or they say the Negro Maroons or Black Maroons. Right? So Maroons, Maroons, practice marronage, Marronage, which is the act of running away.
So before we leave, we're gonna ask Reverend Cesar St. Louis to bless our expedition and us, and put us under God's protection.
If you don't feel comfortable blessing yourself with the sign of the cross, you don't have to, but I will do it. Okay? In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
We are here, Lord, in your presence. We are here because you have willed it. We are here because you have put in our minds the knowledge of exploration. We want to know, because you have given us that understanding and knowledge. We want to explore and learn. And so we put our expedition under your care, Lord. And we ask you as we go to take charge and control of every situation that we will encounter, every incident that will take place along the way. Let there be all for the learning and for the good of this field. We pray that you will direct us to the path that we must take, and that in everything your name will be praised. We ask you to bless us and bless the movement, so that we will learn, we will understand, and we will better be able to take part in our history and be a source for those who depend on us and guide. We ask your blessings in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
I was drifting on my lonely sea when a voice kept calling out to me.
Fontaine. That is this area going up to the ridge. Lovely ridge up there.
And I have nowhere to hide. I heard come. Don't be afraid. You just have to permission. The waters will be rough.
But the trail right is Robinson. A baobab, a real one in Barbados here.
But
About 200 years.
I was talking to some South African people and they say, you all have baobab. Try to say where's the baobab? Why are you still cutting a point in time saying it's baobab?
They look similar, eh?
They look similar.
Yeah, because
one good thing I like about the silk cotton tree in the survival war, the cotton is very flammable. You just take a flintstone and you strike.
And the catch,
Yeah, just like that. You know it's wet. You just hold it, shake it, rest it down.
Really?
Boom.
Yeah.
You can tell
The
you
wood
something.
or oil?
Oil in it.
Like the sap itself?
The flowers.
Oh, the flour, okay.
We're going that way.
The flowers are very sweet.
You mean at the top?
Right now when they start manicure, catch a lot of manicure. It's in the pot. Break it up.
Well, thanks for the encouragement.
Many rivers to cross, but I can't seem to find my way over. Wandering, I am lost as I travel along the white cliffs of Dover. Many rivers to cross, and it's only my will that keeps me alive. I've been licked, washed up for years, and I merely survive because of my pride. And this loneliness won't leave me alone. It's such a drag to be on your own. My woman left and she didn't say why. Well, I guess I have to cry. Many rivers to cross, but just where to begin?
Well, we are at the top of the third falls, and there is the group. We have arrived. Everybody say hi. Right. Yes, excellent. Good.
Let me drink.
So,
We have to.
this is the Bwa Ma water.
Yes.
That is the Bwa Ma water flowing that goes into the third fall.
What's the fall called again? What's the fall called again?
What's the name of the fall?
Live
Live
Sally.
That one is
Sally.
No, that's the name of the fall here. Live Sally. And Contemplate the other fall.
Oh, the one we passed is Fontainebleau?
Yeah.
No, we haven't passed by the fall, we passed in Gap.
So that's Doc drinking the water. Oh yes, and there it is. Simon is going forward to have his drink at the well of our forefathers.
No, this well, this was
A man's drink.
Yes.
Moses
Good.
ale.
Let me go for mine once I know.
Oh, wonderful.
You know? Yes, man.
Yes. Yes, you have to drink from the source, man. That was a sip, that was that drink.
it's chlorinated.
There you go. Yes, man.
Oh yes.
One egg Mawon.
One egg Mawon.
Yes. Bottled by. I see the commercial already, you know. Yeah, man. Just so you know. All you gotta say is one egg Mawon. That is it. Drink. And just shut on the bottle. That is it. You know. That's the commercial. Glen Ellen so can't beat that. You know. Yeah. Oh yes. Sure.
And finally, after over 3 hours of crossing rivers, scaling steep gorges and hanging over dangerous precipices, we finally got to the plateau of Bwa Ma. And what a sight! Though now deeply forested, through the trees one can see a commanding view of the entire southern part of the island. And to the north and east, Bwa Ma is sheltered by steep mountains and vertical drops around the edges of the plateau. As an experienced hiker, I must admit that this is a difficult place to navigate. This journey is not for the faint of heart. And our expedition summarized that our Maroon ancestors must have been very determined and passionate about their thirst for freedom to establish a community in such a location. One must have had excellent survival skills and unique knowledge of this environment to survive.
That's the real down there.
That's a real takeout. That's valley there.
Look across. You see, these trees, you'll be able to see all through there. The whole
There's a valley there. That would be a perfect place for lookout. They would have had it there.
Of course, not only
So that they could move around.
Now, houses.
Look at these
these
stones.
stones,
These stones could have been very useful.
Yeah.
Look at, for example,
tables.
look at how flat that stone is. This flat stone is a useful stone.
Could have been a stool, a table. Pre-Columbian.
It could have been that they're grinding there something here. Let me see. It looks reasonably smooth. So, you know, it could have been something where, because sorry?
Like a cardboard stone.
It could also have been a judgment seat.
Oh, there.
Could be two, yes. Could be anything.
Against anybody who come moving here.
Yes. Wow. I think we have come to the place.
You couldn't come in a place just so you know. You couldn't come in Maroon community just so you know. You have to prove yourself. So they don't come into
to undermine them and sabotage them.
In Jamaica, the existing Maroon community still is very much guarded.
Of course, yes, of course.
Very much so. And they are very proud people. My biology lecturer was a Jamaican Maroon. And she was the first person to really tell me about that and talk about places like Moortown and so on. You know? So at that time I didn't know anything about it.
You kind of walk into the inside, even today.
Yeah. I think this is the place.
You think this is the place?
Yeah,
say
looks
that
like
into the
Now you see at the top of the mountain, you see it's flattened, so it means that this man would have worked on this. Just like how they did on Finance Camp and Mount Kwakwa. Same kind of look. In fact, this place looks bigger than what Finance Camp and Mount Kwakwa.
Yeah, it is bigger. Fedon is a little place.
No, what has survived now from Fedon? Because when this fella when they were executing the prisoners, McMahon said a young boy ran 50 yards, which is 150 feet.
Yes.
Which doesn't look
like the table that we know. No.
But that's one of the few points where McMahon and he disagree.
Yeah.
In fact, John Hayes' book is a kind of a mystery, you know. John Hayes' book is published 20 years after he died. Yeah, John Hayes dies in 1803. And his book comes out in 1823, just the same time as McMahon's book. So we're not so sure exactly who wrote John Hayes' book. John Hayes was dead for 20 years after, before his book was published. It's a bit of a mystery. But some of the stuff which he wrote, you know, seems credible when you compare it with other information. But this is really beautiful and fascinating. Don't think about the big trees. Think about it being cleared 200, not 200, like 250 in the 1700s, early 1700s, before 1762. This might have been, because it has a French name or Creole name, that means it was there.
And yes, Dr. Jacob's analysis seemed to support our theory that the Creole language was the vault in which the secret was kept. It is no coincidence that many of the areas in Grenada, which has a history of resistance against slavery and colonialism, still maintain its Creole name, probably in defiance of their former masters and as a frustration to the British in their attempt to anglicize the island. Additionally, surrounding communities like Mawon, which may have also been a Maroon hideout based on its location and proximity to Bwa Ma, and the other borderline communities of freed Africans which were established, such as La Mode, Annandale, Willis, may have been very strategic in supporting each other and providing the necessary cover for these Maroon communities.
But you see, this is how the Maroons would have stirred their porridge and their cooking.
Have you seen this? As the stick.
It was just for juice.
Yeah.
This is modern as it could be.
This has just been for juice. Is it a nutmeg?
No, that's how we use.
It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And one in the middle there that was stick now.
Nutmeg probably has 3. Yeah. Nutmeg has 3. This one has 5.
What do you call it?
A lily.
A lily. No, that is the patois too.
No, lily.
It's a lily.
That's what she's
This is a lily. And all in Martinique, they call it a lily.
Yeah, okay. So you get that on the
I tell you, I have to go on Facebook to learn what they're doing in Martin.
That's all right.
So whose is it?
This place is not.
Right, go ahead.
You were saying we can't finish
Walk it in a day. You can't.
We can't walk.
No, it's too big. Because when we hunt in here in the day, sometimes we say, they will cut it because we can't hunt it in a day. Wow. You know? If you live here now, you're crossing Van Dam, you're going on top there and you're watching Van Dam below.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you can't walk.
So it overlooks Van Dam.
Yeah.
You know,
Shin Bongji.
Shin
Bongji.
Miss Francis.
Van Dam. Because the traces above there, the trace of Bongji us. But when you talk about Bwa Ma, Bwa Ma will go and follow what they call it Oka. Bongji Oka.
You're recording this?
Yeah. Way back too. Yeah, it's not this big. We never done 100 in a day. We had to cut it to 100.
I don't know it's so big.
Yeah, it's very large. And you have a big flat, very flat, traveling in very flat. Yeah.
So did you say it in the
Yeah.
That's really, I thought it was just a little.
Yeah, you see, when you started it, you start narrow. But when you reach up on top here,
No, but that's how
you're making land.
It starts off now, then it keeps wider.
Yeah.
No,
This in Bongji with
all that stress.
Okada is what you call 2 baht. You know.
2 baht?
Yeah, this. Yeah. You come out here, you could follow in 2 baht and go
good. It's
Fedos camp.
Thank God for technology.
You have to know the rules.
Oh, you could get into Fedos camp?
I could get into Fedos from here.
From here?
Yeah. I throw the whole wood and I get right to Fedos.
Oh, yes.
You also just look at
Yeah.
Alright, and then from there again back up?
Means it's part of a network.
Network, yes?
Yeah, sure.
Part of a
Because
network.
it's big, you know. Very big.
So you say we can get to Fedor's camp from here?
From here, yeah. To get to Fedos from easy.
Oh.
But you have to know the woods, you know. You have to know the woods to take to get there.
We can get to Fedor's camp from here.
Wow, Bwa Ma is indeed a fascinating discovery. Given what we now know about the Maroon communities being established within the dense forest of Grenada, as recalled in folk songs, stories, and other forms of the oral tradition in which the Creole language is most present, we can now begin to unravel some of the mysteries of the past, such as, was Black Forest a deliberate distortion of the location of the forest of the Black Maroons, Bwa Ma? Was there a connection between Chamfleur and St. David's, which had lots of Kalinago or Carib descendants, Munich, which was a freed African community, Mondor, Willis, Lamode, and Bwa Ma? From examining the map of Grenada, there seems to be a common trend in that most of these areas were bordered by the Grand Etang forest. In folk legend, this forest is still imbued with mystery and mysticism. Maybe this connection is the next piece of the puzzle to unlock. As we rediscover the patois language, maybe we will uncover more.
On the side over there?
Yeah.
Is the gorge over there?
Yeah, the deep when you stand up and you want down there. What?
Powder?
Yeah.
I charged it all yesterday, last night.
Interesting. I didn't believe it was so big.
So when you get here, you could head off in that direction as it continues to be flat.
Yes.
Over that way.
Yeah, that way flat.
That way flat. And what about this way?
You're going that way and you get flat still.
Which direction is the Fedon's camp? That way. Network. That's a network.
And which is the way to Grenada?
Same thing.
Same Fedon.
Yeah, Fedon thing. I could come out here. You could take that trail and then you go. Okay. On both sides.
I'm not getting forward.
No, but it looks like that was just like the central point.
Yes. I
It
took
looks
a
like
guide
it.
from Concord
Paul,
School.
because you could head out in all directions from here.
Yeah.
You could
All
hit
directions.
everything.
Yeah. Because I used to take up guides from Concord School. When they come from away and I used to come up on that trail in the back. Going right in Grenada with them. I know the forest.
Maybe it's not
really
sitting
like
properly.
How long these trails exist? You are a little boy, you remember these trails being there?
Yeah, because and even when I was growing, I see they used to walk it, cutting them trails. So I always keep it in my head.
Why this be cutting the trails?
Well, because when people come out from away and A lot of people just come from Trinity and go here, come back down. Whether on that side or on that side, they just travel. So they have signs, a map and everything showing you where you have to go. But right now, I noticed they stop walking. I don't know why. This trail should be walking all the time. Yeah, because I could remember some years ago a woman, a white lady here, died over that piece of fall, second fall.
She died?
She almost died there because she took the wrong trail. And where she ended up is only God, you know, because what she hold to go up on the rock is this kind of sinking. Wow. Yeah, because when she say what she lost and I went back to see, you know, where she passed, I see her where she go down. But I didn't get there.
And so, as we begin to process and fully absorb the experience of our hike to Bwa Ma, we've come to the realization that this expedition is just the start of a process of decoding our past with the use of the patois language. Who knows how many more pieces of our history that is lost in the abyss that may hold vital clues as we continue our quest to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. The members of the Grenada Creole Society is on a mission to explore our ancestral language for more clues. And though not written, just as the memory of Mr. Rupert Labastide prompted our team to head out on our journey to Bwa Ma, we continue to seek out more.
Make my